Yeah, I can't believe it. I refuse to believe it. This is insane. Let's get into it.
Standing on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
Well, once again, she comes from out of the rock which she got crushed under. I can't believe I'm really talking about this story. Look at him. Looking like two doofuses. Two white supremacist doofuses. One just recently crapped on Stokely Carmichael saying John Lewis was the best bet for black people over Stokely Carmichael. Are you freaking kidding me? And here is their super predators herself. Welcome to another episode of the Bobby Brown Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Bob TV Brown. Welcome to the podcast. Before we get started, hit the like button, share. Give me my likes, y'all. I need 200, okay? Give me my likes. Share the broadcast on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Hit the notification bell. Hit always so you can know when the video is being dropped. Whoop, there it is. Any time of the day, 365 days, it don't matter. A video can drop. I try to be live at 11 on Sundays, but because I work on Sundays sometimes, Sunday morning to be exact, it's kind of tough for me to be live on Sunday nights at 11. Dog tired. And also make sure you subscribe, because they've been unsubscribing y'all by the droves and you don't even know it. Go back, make sure if you're unsubscribed, go ahead and resubscribe again. I can't believe I'm talking about this story. First of all, I just recently dealt with Omicron, and we're going to talk about that in another segment. Honestly speaking, at this point, only an idiot would believe this is a vaccine. It's more of a treatment. My next video is going to be entitled, Stop Calling This a Vaccine. This is just a shot. We'll talk about that later. But let's get into this story right here. Yeah, Hillary Clinton is trying to make a comeback. Look at that face. Got a couple of stories on this. First, Clinton's making a statement to the Hill, saying it's time for some careful thinking about what wins election. Here's a woman who lost her election. A loser.
Le who? The her.
Well, Rob, she won multiple times in New York because New York is New York. A Clinton is going to win in New York, especially when Bill Clinton office is in Harlem, trying to suck up some black support, but not doing a doggone thing for the black people of Harlem, just having an office there. They think you pleasing black people by having an office in Harlem. That's the first black president. Get the out of here. I gotta read this title again. Clinton, a loser, is actually going to get advice on winning elections. It's like Claire McCaskill. You lost. You're a loser. How can you give advice on elections? Former Democratic president nominee Hillary Clinton took a swipe at progressive Democrats earlier this month, saying that her party needs to consider what wins the election.
See as the state of the Democratic Party right now?
I think that it is a time for some careful thinking about what wins elections, and not just in deep blue districts where a Democrat and a liberal Democrat or so-called progressive Democrat is going to win.
Well, to be fair to Hillary Clinton, and honestly speaking, I can't be fair to her. She don't know what the hell she's talking about. when Bernie Sanders' movement began to properly copycat his campaign, they began to win. My only problem with that campaign, and my only problem with our revolution, my only problem with Justice Democrat, my only problem with Brand New Congress, and even my own problem with the People Party, which is a coming up party, is these people ran on a platform, but when it's time to start pushing the platform, they punk out. And as a result of them not keeping their words, the people who voted for them because of that platform, when they don't see that platform being implemented, they're going to kick them out. But don't think going back to the old conservative Democrat way of doing things, the old approach known as pragmatic politics, do not fly in today's generation. That two-step politics, that step-by-step politics don't fly in this generation. Now, even though when he actually got in office, he was more of a two-step president, just like the rest of the Democrats, Donald Trump, he ran on a revolution. He took Bernie Sanders' revolution and ran on it and won. Because nobody was buying Hillary Clinton taking over the Bernie Sanders revolution, which really wasn't a revolution. It was all talk and all, The old way of being pragmatic and running elections don't work, Hillary Clinton. But Hillary Clinton say, we need to talk about what wins an election. You and all the people that you supported, Elliot Ingalls here in Mount Vernon, lost to Jamal Bowman. I can go on and on and on. A list of people that lost. Crowley in Queens lost. But Robert, that's what she's talking about in the Deep Blue District. It doesn't matter what district is. The moment she comes out and start stomping for somebody, their chances of losing dramatically increases because nobody really likes her. In an interview with NBC Willie Geist, Lord Jesus, Clinton said that.
So, look, I'm all about having vigorous debate. I think it's good, and it gives people a chance to be part of the process. But at the end of the day, it means nothing if we don't have a Congress that will get things done, and we don't have a White House that we can count on to be sane and sober and stable and productive.
Like when you were in Congress, Miss Medicare for All, the lead person in Medicare for All, and who turns around in her debate saying it would never ever happen. You? Or a White House that we can count on to be sane, sober, stable, and productive, like yours would be? The same woman who said,
We came, we saw, he died. Did it have anything to do with your visit? No. Oh, I'm sure it did.
celebrating killing Gaddafi, who did nothing to Americans, who came to the UN and screamed out they're trying to kill me, who been in the closet all this time until Obama became president. He decided to come up out of the closet because he figured I got a black brother that's going to understand me. Not.
I understand why people want to argue for their priorities. That's what they believe they were elected to do.
And that's what they're supposed to do, Hillary Clinton. See, the problem with Hillary Clinton, she wants power, she wants the fame, but she don't want to do the work or the bidding of the people. She want to do the work and bidding of Wall Street, the corporate interests, military complex, pharmaceutical industry, you name it, all these complexes. But when it comes to the people, actually getting things done for the people, she don't want to do it. The lady said Medicare for all would never, ever, ever happen. And she was one of the chief spokesperson. She gave up, quit, threw in the towel, dropped the ball, kicked it down the curb, and said, I quit. And this is the person that's going to teach us about winning elections. Clinton's comments came among a larger debate over the direction of the Democratic Party and the influence that progressives should wield in shaping it.
So, look, I'm all about having vigorous debate. I think it's good, and it gives people a chance to be part of the process. But at the end of the day, it means nothing if we don't have a Congress that will get things done, and we don't have a White House that we can count on to be sane and sober and stable and productive.
President Biden and Democratic leaders in Congress have pushed to advance a sweeping social policy and climate change bill, despite reservation from some moderates, including Senator Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin, you people making a big deal about Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin just doing the same thing that Mitch McConnell doing. You're going to be dealing with these nutcases for a while. You're going to have to appease them to get them on your side. And Joe Biden don't have the strength to twist and turn and get people to, he don't know how to whip up votes. Now, when he was younger, he was able to do that. But that old manism have checked in. And yeah, I'm talking about ageism. Ageism has checked in on Joe Biden. Joe Manchin would effectively stalled the measure earlier this month when he announced that he could not vote for it. Of course, and the same thing going to happen when the Republicans get in charge. You're going to have that one person that's going to stall. If he's still here, you got Mitch McConnell. And now you got a few more people like nutcases, Marjorie Greene, and all these people. Some in the party have also warned that pursuing liberal policies, priority, could lead to a backlash next year in 2020 midterm elections, when Democrats will have to defend their razor-thin majority in the House and the Senate, and they will have to do that. But it's not going to be liberal policies that's going to cause them to lose the House and probably the Senate. Me, pretty much, I think it's this mandate issue that's going to cause this. It's not liberal policies. But the policies, whether it's liberal or conservative, the policies that are favored in majority, if you run on them and commit to demonstrating them or commit to making them happen, you have a greater chance of winning. Now, you know me, I'm in this area where if you don't have a black agenda, if you're not going to push the agenda that black people gave you from the grassroots, I'm not talking about the CBC, but black people from the community, from the grassroots gave you, and we do have that, then you're not going to get the black vote. And if you're not going to get the black vote is going to stop getting out for you if you're not going to start getting out for us. So while you're focusing on liberal policies, it's not really the liberal policies that's going to cause the Democrats to lose the House and the Senate. It's one major thing that's going to cause the Democrats to lose the House and the Senate, and that's mandates. So Democrats will have to defend their razor-thin majority in the White House, but mandates has really killed their chances, because if you support it, and here's the sad part, you support mandating Americans to go and get a shot, because that's all it is. It's not a vaccine, it's a shot. Most vaccines, you take them one time. You don't deal with those anymore. It lasts 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and sometime a lifetime. This ain't lasting jack. People still getting sick. People still getting affected. And we talking about people who got 1, 2, 3 shots. I hardly call that a vaccine. I just call it a COVID shot. It works. It helps minimize your risk of getting seriously infected. I agree with that. Is it safe for the long run? I don't know. And that's my problem with it. And it is keeping you from getting so sick that you're going to end up in the ICU. I like to say ICU. I don't want to talk about hospitalization, because a person who's just freaked out, scared because they figured they got the Omicron is going to go to the hospital. And we're going to talk about that later, because I did when I had Omicron. I didn't freak out. I just need to know whether I had it or not because I planned on going to Florida, and I was hoping they're telling me that I didn't have it, so I can go ahead to Florida anyway. People going to the hospital, they get COVID tests. It's not just because they're sick with Omicron, but we'll talk about that later. In the race that was seen as an earlier bellwether for 2022, Republicans Glenn Youngkin pulled off an upset victory in Virginia gubernatorial election last month. Republicans have touted that win as a sign that voters are poised to reject Democratic control in Washington next year. No, that is not why. Terry McAuliffe is a longtime Democratic Scrooge or stooge. He is another Biden butt kisser. He is a Clinton suck-up. He's a longtime Clinton advocate. And people in Virginia are not going to be supporting you if you tag yourself to that. He's also did not push black policies, which didn't get the blackout vote like it should. And that's the reason why Glenn Youngkin won, because Terry McAuliffe refused to do the bidding of black people. He refused to reject the mandates because he wanted to continue to go with the Democratic talking points. And he refused to push back on the CRT debate real hard, letting them know, ain't nobody teaching that crap around here, man. Get out of here. Terry McAuliffe lost that race. And that is not a sign that the Democrats, the people are tired of Democrats, so they're going to go with the Republicans. Not. Again, the only reason the Democrats going to lose the House and Senate is primarily this mandate issue. Progressives, meanwhile, argue that voters have given Democrats a mandate to govern by handing them both the House and Senate. Progressives, meanwhile, argue that voters have given them a mandate. Yeah, the voters are going to give you a mandate, all right. They're going to give you a mandate that we will not support those who give mandates. Progressives, meanwhile, argue that voters have given Democrats a mandate to govern by handing them both the House and Senate majorities, as well as the White House, and that the party should use its power in Washington to advance sweeping policy overhauls. I will say, if the policies, now look, I don't support this, not at this moment. I support black power, black economic power by any means necessary. If that means we ain't going out to vote for you, you could talk about all the boogeymans, you could talk about the lesser evil. We're going to tell you, take that crap, turn it sideways and stick it up your behind. Don't come here with that. If you lose, it's because you refuse to bend the knee to the needs of the black community, the black grassroots. We told you what we need. We told you what we want. This is what we demand. And if you refuse to give into it, then you lose because we don't come out and vote for your behind. That's your fault. Ask Terry McAuliffe. Eric Adams barely won that race. The primaries. Clinton, a fixture of Democrats. That's the problem. That's the reason why Democrats will lose. She's a fixture of the Democratic establishment ring, has had a contentious relationship with our party's progressive wing, having fought Senator Bernie Sanders, a standard bearer for the progressive movement for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2016. Yes, she hates his guts to this very day. She hates his guts. But wait, I'm not finished. Let's go to another article. This one right here is hilarious. Hilarious. Look at that face. Hillary 2024. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm not paying for the Hill. There may be a rematch coming in 2024 race for White House, but we're not talking God help us Biden Trump too. God help us Biden Trump too. Heck, Biden Hillary Clinton was even worse than Biden Trump too. Instead of 2016 Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton is an interesting prospect to consider when looking for a viable candidate. She is not viable. You must be a Clinton suck-up. You must be a Clinton butt kisser. You got to be. You must be on the Clinton payroll. This is a pro-Clinton ad. Probably not even how can I say it? Let me basically say this. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, sir. Biden Trump 2 sounds more feasible than Hillary Clinton Trump 2. Nobody wants to whine and complaining, begging, suck up, doing whatever she can to get a vote. Hot sauce in my bag swag, doing the Dougie on Ellen, doing the wobble with coon extraordinaire Roland Martin. It ain't happening. And black people ain't gonna be voting for Clinton either. Because we know her record too. We know what she said about black people. We know what she said about black youth. We know how she really feel about Black Lives Matter. And we know how she feel about reparations and black empowerment. And she don't think black people should have the same and equal monetary value as white people. Well, let's keep reading. In 2016, Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton is an interesting prospect. No, she's not. To consider when looking for a viable candidate. No, she's not. Particularly if an 80-something President Biden decides not to seek a second term. So they basically telling Kamala Harris, you're out of here. We're not going to consider you. We'll pick Hillary Clinton and run her again before we run you. And either way, you're going to lose tremendously to any Republican, let alone somebody like Ron DeSantis or Trump. Because people ain't buying into the evilness of Trump. Even though he's evil, people are not going to be buying that evilness of Trump over the evilness of Hillary Clinton or Democrat or Joe Biden. No, the point is, he who has the interests of the black community will definitely get the black vote. Particularly if an 80-something President Biden decides not to seek a second term. And why would he? Because he said he would. That's why would he? Dummy. He said he's going to run again. The only thing going to stop him from running is he forget to put his name on the ballot because he's dealing with, little ageism. Just 22% of the voters want him to seek a second term. Why do 2% of the voters, now you're not even saying Democrat or Republican, you're just saying voters. Why is 22% of the voters want him to seek a second term? Because he's effing up. He suck. He is not good at this. This is not his thing. He shouldn't have been running in the first place. He just had to run because Obama legacy is gone. And Hillary Clinton dropped the ball. So he figured, well, I'm going to take the mantle. And honestly speaking, folks, he don't believe a woman will be vice president or president. I mean, he don't believe a woman will be president. He believes the only way a woman be president is over his dead cold body. Because that's the only way. That's the only way. That's the only way Kamala Harris will ever be president. And that's the only way. Well, there is no way. Hillary Clinton will never be president. It's over with. It's done. It's over with. Kaput. Get out of here. Go home. Play with your grandkids. It's over. Just 22% of voters want him to seek a second term, according to a INI and TIPP poll. Never heard of it. Where they come up with this crap. Man, folks, somebody create a poll out of their behind. I mean, you can do a poll on your YouTube channel. I could do one. And then I could put it according to the Bob TV poll. You could do a poll on Twitter. I don't even pay these polls no mind, man. But if something seems favorable to their narrative, they're going to put that poll in there if that poll is favorable to their narrative. It doesn't get much better when polling only Democrats where just 36% want to see the president run again. With that juggernaut candidate named someone else coming in first with a 44%. And this is where this guy's getting all this bull crap from. This poll, Marist poll. Whoa, NPR, PBS poll shows Democrat wants Biden replaced in 2024. Well, they already talking about removing Kamala Harris, who can't win an election to save her life on this scale. Heck, if she go back to California, she won't even be able to win that election. 44% want someone else. 36% want Biden. 20% are unsure. Why? Why? Why does Biden don't look good in this situation? Because he's not doing his job. He suck. And he's done everything, especially when it comes to black people. Black people starting to see you doing everything for everybody else but us. Black people realize Kamala Harris said on the griot.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, 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 no.
If you think I'm just going to do something for black people, no. But meanwhile, she done things for the LGBTQ with the Equality Act. She's done something for Asians, her people. They recently got together and did something for Native American with James Clyburn being so proud. But when it comes to him talking about reparations.
If you wait on cash payments to come out of reparations, you're going to wait forever. It's not going to happen.
You if you want, you ain't gonna never have it happen for you. The Democratic bench is about as deep as the New York Jets these days. Vice President Harris, she's at 28% approval per USA Today. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, no longer a governor and thoroughly disgraced. Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat, he had to spend major time and resources just to avoid being ousted in the deep blue California state during a recall election earlier this year against Larry Elder. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, not even 40 years old, and he has a supply chain crisis on his resume. Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and Senator Cory Booker, none of these fools will be able to beat whoever running for them, running in the Republican Party. None of them. And let me tell you something, Republicans got horrible picks too. But I don't think none of these Democrats can stand up. It's going to take somebody that's outside these circles that really means it about a revolution to win an election. If those are the opinions, why not Hillary Clinton? She's 74 years old, which is like being bathed in the fountain of youth compared to Biden. And she's still stunned 5 years later that she actually lost to Donald Trump. Don't be stunned, baby. Don't be stunned. You and your husband told that man to run for office just to make you look good because you didn't think nobody was going to vote for him, and your butt got shocked that they actually did. So yeah, you stunned, all right. You stunned that it backfired on your behind. And because you were so embarrassed, you had to come up with some kind of excuse on what happened. Wrote a book about what happened, and there was none of that stuff that actually happened. In fact, she sounds no different than Trump and constantly complaining about all the reasons she lost in that reason why she lost in that. Well, the election was stolen by Trump and the Russians anyway. Here he go with this mess. The type of rhetoric is big no for Trump, but A-OK if Hillary or Stacey Abrams, here we go with the Stacey Abrams joke, does it. Rules are rules. Are we going to give into all these lies and this disinformation and this organized effort to undermine our rule of law and our institution? Or are we going to stand up to it? Clinton recently warned regarding the possibility of Trump taking back the White House. And yes, that's a real possibility. Several recent polls have Trump topping Biden at the hypothetical 2024. And guess what? Several polls will have Trump beating Hillary Clinton too, as well as Kamala Harris. Which is stunning, considering that the Democrats received more votes last year than any other presidential candidate in American history, 81 million. Yeah, but all those was in heavily blue district states. So stop talking this more votes crap. It ain't about more votes. It's about states and electoral colleges. This ain't the thong contest at your local club where everybody get to put their hands up and for who has the best thongs on, or who which t-shirt is look better on them. One more possible sign that Hillary is dipping her toe in the 2024 pool. I don't know where this guy's getting this stuff, but Hillary Clinton don't want none of that smoke. She don't want to be embarrassed for the second time. One more possible sign that Hillary is dipping her toe in the 2024 pool comes in the form of her bizarre decision to read her 2016 victory speech for something called Masterclass.
Dream of going up to her and sitting down next to her, taking her in my arms and saying, look at me, listen to me. You will survive. You will have a good family of your own and 3 children. And as hard as it might be to imagine, your daughter will grow up and become the President of the United States. America is the greatest country in the world. And from tonight going forward, together, we will make America even greater than it has ever been.
It was one of the most cringeworthy things you'll ever see. Here we have a former First Lady, Senator, Secretary of State, and Democratic personal nominee reading a speech for an election she lost. Of course, the New York Times gave me an 85% chance of winning an election, and I somehow lost to a guy who had never run for public office before. I'd had trouble absorbing it too. Really, dude? No, you wouldn't. Eventually one would think Hillary, more than 5 years later, would show some class, some humility, some maturity, and not talk about it so often. Instead, here she is, a losing candidate, reading a 5-year-old victory speech. And in case you're asking if any losing presidential candidate had done anything like this before, the answer is no. So since the election, Hillary has blamed her loss on misogyny, sexism, voters, voter ID laws, Bernie Sanders, former FBI Director James Comey, Bernie Sanders, Matt Lauer, Bernie Sanders, along with dozens of other factors, including Bernie Sanders. She hasn't blamed neglecting to the campaign in Wisconsin or deciding I'm with her was a grabby campaign slogan. It's a 5-year public therapy session in broad daylight, and in a sane world, she would have been laughed out of the room for reading such a speech, but this felt more like a trial balloon in an effort to see if there is still an appetite for the Clinton brand. There's no appetite for the Clinton brand. And no, I don't think that's why she did that. And I don't understand where you figure that that's why she did that. She did that because she's a masochist and she loves to wallow in pain. Kamala Harris was supposed to be Biden's plan B. She was supposed to be set up to be the first female president in our nation's history. But it's not working out for the VP, who has already seen senior staff members jump ship at an alarming rate, presumably thanks to her poor polling. Not only that, black people ain't buying into her. Hillary Clinton always seemed to believe the mantle of first female president was her birthright. That's what you call a spoiled brat. And given how pathetic the field is on the Democratic side, with or without Joe Biden, she may just get a second chance at winning the office her husband so famously made famous. Yeah, I'm done with this mess, man. Her birthright. Hillary Clinton figured I'll take all the hell and high water of Bill Clinton sleeping around and getting a little head work in the Oval Office and all that kind of stuff. I went through that with him. I went through all the women talking about he tried to get something from me. But I'm not Tanny Wynette standing by my man. Yes, you are. You're doing all that. You did all that because you wanted to be a senator, because you wanted to be president, lost, was hoping to become vice president, but you had to settle for Secretary of State. And then you tried to run for president and lost to your best friend of 10, 20 years. Your best friend of 20 years, Donald Trump, whom your husband, according to WikiLeaks, encouraged to run for office. You got beat. Now, the guy who wrote this article, you need to stop smoking that ill nana weed. That doo-doo weed. You've been smoking that doo-doo weed. And you must have been taking crystal meth also while you was writing this article. The speech that she goes over on Masterclass. Masterclass is a place for people who it's over with. It's over with, so I'll become a teacher. And teach you the things that made me successful. Timberland, you name it, everybody on Masterclass. Folks, two things about Hillary Clinton. She need to shut the hell up about winning because she is no winner. She is no winner. She need to shut the hell up about getting work done because she never did that. People talk about the policies that Bernie Sanders tried to push. Bernie Sanders was what they call the amendment king. His thing was, I'll focus on getting amendments done. I'm not a good lawmaker. I don't know how to draft a law, but I sure can get some amendments in a law. I'm good at that. At least he's good for something. Hillary Clinton ain't did nothing but wrote a bill to kind of help the 911 victims and stuff like that, which is okay. But that's it. She was not a good Secretary of State. She was horrible. She was trying to use her position to make herself look good for the future as president, even if she had to go against some things Obama told her not to do. She will never be president. Just like Kamala Harris will never be president. And if you run her, you make the situation worse. If you're talking about running Hillary Clinton in articles right now, you're going to make it bad for those in the midterms. And if anybody trot her out the campaign on their behalf, you just caused a death wish on your freaking campaign. Stay away from her. That's what happened to Andrew Gilliam. Andrew Gilliam, when he was running with Our Revolution and all that, and and they wasn't trying to go for Andrew Gilliam in the first place. They were trying to go for Bob Graham's daughter. And Andrew shocked him. And then all the establishment, Biden, Clinton, Obama goes down there and campaign, go to bars with them and everything. As soon as that happened, his credibility stopped going down. Folks, if you're going to win the election, you're going to have to give the people what they want. Now, as far as Democrats and Republicans, listen to me. You know the only way you can really, really win an election is you got to get the black vote. Currently, to this day, I still will tell you, nobody drives to the voting booth like we do. Nobody drives. We pick everybody up. We tell people who they gonna vote for, and some of us sit there and listen to that crap. Black people, you need to get a critical thinking for yourself and understand this. You have to get on code, just like I had to get on code. When I was pushing Bernie Sanders, I was hell of off code. I only push people who's going to push us. Hillary Clinton, she never was for black people. Never. Never. She loved to get around us. So did Calvin Candy. So did Big Daddy. There's a lot of plantation owners love to surround themselves with their black property. They love to hide behind blackness. White supremacy do. Hillary Clinton not is a friend of black people. Bernie Sanders is not a friend of black people. Just, how could you say that? Just look at it, man. The man sit there and act like he don't even know what reparation is. Well, how does that look? Fool, you know what it look like because your people got it and you advocated for your people and you failed miserably. But they still end up getting it internationally. You know what it look like. You want to tell whether a person a white supremacist or a bigot? Mention reparations for black people and watch their response. Just mention that. I don't care if it's a Boogaloo boy or Proud Boy or Democrat or Republican. Just mention, do you support reparations for Native blacks that's been here since the foundation of slavery in this country? And do you support a cash payment? And watch if they squirm, if they, there you go. Folks, Hillary Clinton lost her doggone mind, and anybody who's sitting up there, and this guy probably one of the main ones, he probably this guy or lady, whoever wrote this article, probably was in the front row crying when she lost. Probably still crying. When these folks pop up like that and start talking this foolishness, check them. I'm checking you right now. Stop talking about this Hillary Clinton crap. It's over with her. It's done. She need to stay home and play with her grandkids until the Lord take her home. Enjoy your grandmother life. Stay out of this. This ain't your deal no more. This ain't your deal. And even while you was in office, all you did was play the part of a stellar fundraiser and a stellar politician. But on paper, you was not stellar. You were way worse. All right, I'm done with this one. I'm Bobby Brown with the Bobby Brown Podcast. Again, let me reiterate this. You're going to get articles about Hillary Clinton. Kamala Harris is doing a world tour trying to get her numbers up. Pointing a finger and getting mad and putting her hand on her shoulder. I'm the vice president, and he's the president, Joe Biden. Yeah, you wouldn't have been the president. You wouldn't have been the vice president of that fool and pick you because you sure didn't get voted in. You just came with the ticket, and that's how you got in. You had to drop out the race. So, folks, don't be buying this stuff. Oh, what about Bernie? Bernie's too old, hanging up. And even if he did, this ain't 2016. His chance was 2016, and he flopped it. Flopped it. It was too much a punk to challenge the Democrats after we found out they was rigging this election. Refused to challenge it. It's done. He will never be. Nina Turner, she she run, she might get some traction, but if she start talking about this all lives matterism, and when I say all lives, start pushing policies that's going to benefit majority of America, which you should, but not at the expense of fighting for the people who are going to actually put you in office, and that's the black community. You need to fight for them, for their needs to be met over everybody first. And then once you take care of that need concerning the black community, then you go to your all lives matterism. So folks, to end this, I'm saying this. Stop talking about Hillary Clinton for president. It's not going to happen. It's doomed. Just you talking about it, dooming it. If you're running for office, stay the hell away from her. She is your death stroke in your campaign. Stay away from her. Don't let her talk about you. Don't be proud to get her endorsement. Take that like they did Cody Rhodes when he took out that belt and threw it in the crowd. They threw it back in the ring as a sign saying, we don't want you to be a good guy because you're a heel. Don't be buying into this stuff. Whatever she throw at you, you throw it right back. She's not going to be president. It's over with. Kaput is done. And all these progressives, you better start doing your job. Don't think just because people put you in there that you're going to stay in there and get rich and get a career and become a board member of some company off of us. If they put you in office, you better well find out what they did, why they put you in office, and you better answer that why by supplying them manifestations of what they put you in office for. If not, you're not going to be in office long. I'm talking to you, Jamal Bowman. I'm talking to you, AOC. I say that because they represent me. Clyburn should have been gone. It's time for black people to look at the record and say, you ain't really did nothing for black people in the past. I don't see you doing nothing now. So, I don't believe you're going to do it in the future. So, your behind out my face. I'm Bobby Brown with the Bobby Brown Podcast. I'll holler at you later. I love you. Peace.